Let's cross now to Kethevane Gorjestani in Washington, D.C. Kethevane, I understand one Democrat and one Republican have begun bipartisan talks on gun control. What more can you tell us?
Yes, Chris Murphy and John Cornyn started meeting yesterday to begin preliminary talks about possibly finding some common ground on that gun legislation. They were then joined by several senators from both sides. So there's a group, about 10 senators, that are now working and discussing the possibility of finding some bipartisan agreement on how to make gun ownership in the United States more safe. And there is not a lot of optimism in how quickly or how much they could get done, but there is a sign of hope in the fact that they're actually willing to give it a try, and there is support from leadership. The Senate Minority Leader, Mitch McConnell, said that he had given the green light to these negotiations on the Republican side, and he said that he was hopeful that there could be a bipartisan agreement coming out of there. The Senate Majority Leader, Chuck Schumer, said that Democrats were willing to try anything, that they would not leave any stone unturned. But he also did say that he was not willing to negotiate forever. So he said that he was going to give it a little bit of time, see if the Republicans are willing to negotiate in good faith. And if that doesn't work, then he will use whatever types of bills are already in existence, have been passed by the House, and that he would put those to a vote. That vote would likely, in that experience, probably fail in the Senate because there is not overwhelming support by the Republicans, but at least it would get all senators on the record about gun legislation with just less than 6 months to go before the midterm elections. And so there is a sense that there is growing pressure, increasing demands for action from Congress, and something that is putting pressure on both sides, both the Democrats and the Republicans. And so you're seeing them at least trying to show that they're willing to try to do something about it. Whether the result will come out is a different question.
So where exactly is the common ground between these two parties, Kethevane?
Well, it seems that there are two measures that have the biggest chance of actually succeeding at getting bipartisan support. One senator, the Democrat, Joe Manchin, spoke to several U.S. media, and he said that where he saw the likelihood of an agreement were red flag laws and the expansion of background checks. The expansion of background checks, that's what has been tried before and has so far failed. There are two bills in the House that are stuck in the House that could be taken up by the Senate that talk about expanding those background checks. Right now, in the United States, there are background checks, but those are for licensed gun sellers. That means that there is a huge loophole for private gun sellers, for example, at those very popular gun shows in the United States, or sellers who sell through the internet who don't have to screen buyers for that background check. And so the idea possibly would be to expand it to all gun sales. If you think about it, in the United States, about 20% of gun purchases go through private sellers. So that could make a big difference in the U.S. The other possibility are those red flag laws. These are laws that could allow a family member or law enforcement to go to a judge and ask for a court order to either bar someone from buying a gun or to go and remove that gun from the possession of that person if that person is deemed by a judge to be a threat to themselves or a threat to others. These are laws that have been passed in many states, including very Republican states, one of them being Florida. That red flag law was passed right after the Parkland shooting back in 2018, and it has been used thousands of times. So there is some hope that Republicans could get on board with that type of law. This is, of course, a very preliminary discussion between the Democrats and the Republicans, but there is a little bit of optimism that maybe this time it is a little bit different than others. That said, some people here in the United States say that they've heard this multiple times, that this time will be different, and then there wasn't really any major change in the legislation.
Kethevane Gorjestani reporting there from Washington. Thank you.